It had been going on for a few weeks now. Jabari, my longtime friend, had been shot down by local authorities, or so they say. They made it into an extravaganza. They said that he had somehow escaped his confinements at the zoo and that had been attacking people. The police had made the statement that he had left no choice but to use force. I didn't want to think about this anymore, but I couldn't escape it. All I kept seeing was headline after headline after headline. They went as far as to even make up false accusations about him. I just couldn't believe this had happened. He had told me a few days before his death that he had gotten into some trouble, but would not elaborate on it. Now it is too late. He is gone, but I refuse to let his memory go down in vain. I know deep down that his death was much more, that it was some kind of conspiracy, and I meant to find out the truth. Sitting at home, I just couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my keys, got to my car, and made my way to the zoo. Now I know what you're thinking. A gorilla driving? Well, believe it, it happened. They had the scene of the crime blocked off, but I was not about to let this stop me. I stopped by the flamingos first, but they were to be of no help. They were still in a state of shock over what had happened, just wanting to forget everything. The next animal I talked to was the mandrill. Being this close to the gorilla exhibit, I was sure he might have known something, but he just continued playing with the grass. It was a known fact that he was the zoo's main pothead. I was getting nowhere, so I decided to go straight to the top. I talked to the queen of the jungle herself, but a lot of good that did. She told me it was none of my business and to get lost. Her mate was no help either. It was easy to see who wore the pants, I mean the fur in this relationship. I wondered if I might get anything out of the aardvark, but he just ignored me while sticking his tongue out at me as if I were just wasting my time. My next target was the elephant. Being the oldest creature in the park, I was sure he'd have something to tell me. But after glancing into his eyes, all I could see was fear for what might happen to him if he were to have spoken. His next door neighbor, the giraffe, wasn't much help either. He spent his whole time licking things as though trying to get some kind of high, as though he was on some kind of withdrawal. When he finally saw me, all he could do was ask, "Do you have any?" I knew what he meant, but I just couldn't answer him. My next stop was the tiger exhibit, but no matter how hard I looked for them, they were nowhere to be found. When I did manage to finally spot one of them, they were in the distance trouncing back and forth as though their number had come up and they were awaiting death's call. By now, I knew something around here wasn't right. When I arrived to talk to the rhino, it looked as though I might actually get somewhere. He acted as though he had some heavy burden to get off his shoulders. I thought to myself I might actually learn something now. But unfortunately, it looked as though his heavy burden was of another nature. The cheetahs are known as the zoo's local crime family. I knew by the way they were lounging around and snickering at all my questions that they had to know something. I just knew it in my gut. I was going to find out. The rest of the day went nowhere, as most of the other animals either ran away or turned their backs to me. The bottom line was, though, I was just shit out of luck. Finally, one little soul came to me, one small monkey who was tired of living in fear. He would talk to me, but only me, for the fear and safety of not himself, but his family, which I completely understood. Just as I had thought, it had been a planned assassination plot between the cheetah family and the city. Cash for the cheetahs, and complete control over the zoo for the city. I didn't know how to deal with this. I decided to go for a walk to clear my mind, to try to figure things out. I went to a nearby park where Jabari and I used to play when we were younger. Where we would talk about our future dreams. His to have and raise a family at the zoo. Mine, become a film director. Now here I have my film, but at what cost? How can we live in such a conflicted world? A world where I can do nothing but mourn the loss of a dear, close friend.